Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for March 28th through April 3rd. And I'm pulling cards for every sign for the full moon that is occurring today as I'm recording this at 2:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, adjust for your own time zone. So yeah, let's get started. This has to be really quick because I have a full schedule today, but I wanted to get this out. So my goddess of the week is Arian Rod, and she speaks about time and about there being enough time. Are we running out of time? Are we feeling overwhelmed? And I just love it because I am feeling like that. And that there isn't enough time to get everything done that I need to get done. And so she's perfect. I mean, at least for me. But I think with this Aries energy, you know, the sun in Aries, everything is like really fired up. I think that we're having more energy. Some of us are dealing with it better than others, but I think it could create a lot of anxiety. And so her message specifically talking about time, and I'll just read real quick through this passage. And I broke my nails and didn't have time to get a manicure, and it's like whatever. Some things just have to be let go of because we can't get it all done. That's how I'm feeling. Anyway, she says, do you worry that there isn't enough time or that you might be running out of it? Do you feel that you are too late, too stressed, or too overwhelmed to get to where you need to go? This attitude is fueled by fear, which has a strange and unusual power to contract time. Arian Rod, the goddess of time, has an alignment task for you. So this is what we're going to do. Breathe deeply and trust the process. Know that even if you are temporarily struggling, you will always have enough time to choose how you experience your reality. So I'm going to leave you at that so that I can speak more about her in my post that I will have on Facebook, Instagram, and my website, expressionsoftheuniverse.com. I'll go into more detail. I'll include the astrology for the week, see how that lines up. The full moon in Libra at 8 degrees today. We have a grand trine in air, so it's almost like a breath of fresh air coming through. Our mental faculties are really like, that's why I think we're feeling this way. Think. So you see how I said think? Because that's air. Things are coming fast. Words are coming fast. You know, Mars is in Gemini, and I have to say, Mars at 13 degrees is hitting my sun and North Node, both at 13 degrees, and the true node is at 13 degrees. I'm just feeling electric and on fire. If you have things in like 13 to, you know, almost 20 degrees in your chart, that's probably where you're feeling it. What else? Oh, the full moon in Libra. It's the full worm moon. It's also known as the full crow moon. The first robins of spring, if you live in an area where you get seasons, they're showing up. This moon, why it's called the full worm moon, is because the ground is finally thawing, and it's sometimes called the full crust moon because there's like still a crust layer over the Earth's surface in colder areas. The worms are finally starting to emerge, so the birds return from their winter migration, and now they can feast. Some call it the full crow moon because that's when the crows start returning, and you can hear them cawing, the ravens also, calling out that spring is here, spring is here. Babies are starting to be made in the animal kingdom. And it's also known as the full sap moon by some Native Americans. because now that things are thawing out, the maple sugar in the maple trees, that sap is finally starting to be able to flow. So they tap the tree. That's where the maple syrup comes from. Well, the sugar water, the sap, and then it has to be boiled and turned into what we put on our favorite foods for breakfast. So I'm going to point out where your sign, your sun sign, rising sign, and moon sign, so you'll pay attention to all of those, where it's showing up, which house it's showing up, and I'll pull a card. I'm using Colette Baron Reed's The Wisdom of the Oracle deck because I wanted a happier deck for this moon, with it being a Libra moon. So Libra is all about relationships. It rules the 7th house. And it's not just romantic relationships, marriages, or whatever. It's our relationship to everything. It's our friendships. You've heard me speak about how it's my relationship to my coffee even. But we're taking a look at every relationship in our lives, our relationship to our material things, the people in our lives, etc., etc. And it's at 8 degrees. So we're making some big decisions about the relationships in our lives. You know, the song, the Clash song, Should I Stay or Should I Go, is coming to mind. We're making these decisions. It's not happening maybe on this day, but it could have, you know, over the past couple of days, you might have been contemplating certain relationships, your relationship to your job, your work, your company, you know, whether you are in a relationship romantically, maybe you're ready to be in one, maybe you're ready to get rid of one. We're looking at all of that. So, you know, these days leading up to it, and especially, you know, several days after, we're going to feel it very strongly. But this is just tipping it off for the next couple of weeks. That's the energy we're in. And to be honest, as the moon waxes up to full apex, we could be bringing in new relationships. And once we hit that apex and we get past that, you know, I would say today is Sunday as I'm recording this. By Wednesday, the moon will start to wane and get, you know, start to move into position for new moon in 2 weeks. We're getting rid of things. We're throwing things away. We could be seeing things that we never noticed before in our lives. And now all of a sudden it's like sticking out like a sore thumb, big red flags, clutter, whatever. I'm looking around and just like, oh my God, I've really got to get my ish together here. I just haven't had time. So everything's been pushed to the wayside. We're going to have to pay attention to all of those tiny details and start chucking whatever isn't fitting, whatever is like causing us dis-ease. All right, so I'm just going to cut these. I shuffled really well, and I'm pulling right from the top. I'm going to start with Aries. The sun is in Aries at 8 degrees. So we're also making decisions about ourselves. Aries is the I am sign, and it's in the 9th house. So where are we expanding? We're looking to expand ourselves in some way, shape, or form. Aries, suns, risings, moons. But I think this is all of us because that is where the full moon is. That's where the sun is. The opposition is the 3rd house. So that's our neighborhood. It's our communication. It's automobiles, technology, air travel, short trips. It's also siblings, cousins, those close relationships that are like one-off from us. It's also like small children with elementary education theme. So all of those different themes, that's where, you know, we're taking a look at right now with the moon in Libra in the 3rd house. We could be contemplating a move, you know, with that opposition, going somewhere new, contemplating a vacation, even if it's just, you know, a day trip or a weekend getaway where, you know, it's close and easily accessible, especially because we're still in this pandemic in so many areas. And yeah, we could be looking to maybe go back to school and expanding ourselves in that way, shape, or form. But this is especially true for Aries suns, risings, and moons. Like it will hit you even more so, and also the Libras. So Aries, let's see, what do we have? Oh, interesting. So you are getting fork in the road, and this means it's time for you to make a decision, Aries. I think that this is perfect for the Aries because we're also making decisions. Remember, Chiron has been in Aries for quite some time and will still be in Aries for quite some time. And I'm hoping that you can hear me well because I'm just doing this on the fly. We also have Venus in Aries at this time and Ceres / Demeter. So, you know, we're looking to expand, to create more of that really good feeling that we're feeling. I think that's where Aries has to focus on. You know, it's about feeling good within yourself and like, what is it going to take? So the decision really is, are you staying in the same place, or are you going to make a move and move on and move forward and really take a good look at your relationships and see who and what is holding you back? Coffee break. All right, Taurus. So this full moon is hitting the Tauruses in the 10th house. This could be your career. This could be your status in the world. It's also how people see you. The people that are in the outside world, how they're viewing you, what you're known by in the outside world. Not so much your closest people, because they probably know you as something completely different. And this is a change in the wind. I love these cards. The artwork is so beautiful. But a change in the wind is saying that you're finally going to be changing something that you're known for. You know, Uranus is transiting Taurus for quite some time. So big changes are coming. This could also be, I feel as though because of it being the 10th house, this could be about rules and regulations and where you may be stifled. So there's an expansion of what direction you're going in there for Taurus suns, risings, and moons. What else am I picking up? I'm feeling, you know, real estate is involved, or some kind of land possession, etc. You're just going to be changing your mind about something, or the way that you have perceived something, because I have to think about that grand trine in air. Your perception is changing. And also I feel like your Tauruses are opening up a little bit to doing something different. I like that. Geminis. So for Gemini, this is the 11th house. So this is the people in the outer world, but it's our friends, it's society, it's humanity. It is also our, you know, close personal friends, those people in our lives. So we're really taking a look at that. Now, you got to remember, we've got the North Node there. We also have Mars there. And that is part of that grand trine. So we're looking at all of those relationships right now, Gemini, and it's like, who should stay, who should go, who should I let in? And it's almost like a destiny type of thing because of that North Node. And also, well, I'll save that for later. Let me just write that down. Leave it on my ending note. Okay. Interesting. We have never-ending story. So it's like, when I see this card, I think of what are the stories that you're telling yourself? What are the stories you're telling other people? Changing up your story. This is a time where those old stories about those old relationships, the way they affected you, they've got to go. We're changing things up. And it's time to start a new story because you're in, some of you could be in this loop, especially Grand Trine and Air, this being Gemini, and the 11th house. It's like, what do you want your dreams, wishes, and hopes to be? You can't be telling, and this is for everybody, really, you can't be telling that same old story anymore and hoping for something better to come in the future. That's got to go. So there you go. Never-ending story. Cancer. So this is affecting 12th house. This is past lives. We're healing past life relationships that could be playing a repeat in this life. We're also, this is about where are you sacrificing yourselves, Cancer, suns, risings, and moons, for like the greater good. You sacrifice yourself at the expense of the self. So those are the relationships that you need to be looking at. What's taking up way too much of your time that you're giving of yourself. And so I'm a Cancer rising, and so I'm seeing it around me, that, you know, I'm giving so much of myself to so many others. I've been booked, so I'm so grateful. But everything else around me, including my own personal self-care, has been pushed to the wayside. So I've got to kind of find that balance. Oh, and that's what Libra is about. It is about the balance in our relationships, ourselves versus them, and etc. And really taking time more for ourselves, because I feel like Cancer, suns, risings, and moons really just gives so much to the others, that we're cutting ourselves short. And our card is a higher power. All right, so a higher power, and this is perfect for the 12th house because that's where our deep spirituality lies, that in the 9th house. But, you know, 12th house is typically ruled by Pisces. This higher power comes in, and maybe that's what's making our decisions. So pay attention to the signs, whether they be animal totems, lyrics that you hear on the radio, actual signs. You know, you think of somebody and they call. Pay attention to other people's conversations, because you could hear something that just like, oh, it strikes a chord with you, and you say, oh, you know what, I can relate to that with this relationship. Maybe I need to take a look at that. So pay attention to that higher power. Leos, first house, all about the self. We're taking a look at ourselves and our relationships, similar a little bit to Cancer, but I think in a flip way. It's like, where are we putting too much emphasis on ourselves and not on nurturing the others that are around us? So it's like a flip of that Cancer, where Cancers give so much of themselves that they take away from, they give so much to others that they take away from themselves. Leos, you could have been in this loop of doing so much for yourself or staying secluded with yourself that you're not giving back out to the world. So I want you to take a look at those relationships, making a decision on where you've been like very self-focused, and now maybe you need to spend a little bit more time on your relationships, nurturing your relationships. And this is yin energy, and that goes perfect with what I just said. So yin energy is very soft and nurturing. It's that feminine energy. It's the kindness and compassion towards others. I mean, of course, ourselves, but it's that balance. So where you may have been so self-focused, now it's time to give back out to the other. Okay, so Virgos, we're talking second house. Virgo suns, risings, and moons. Second house is about our money, the things that we own, the things that we value, whether it's material or immaterial. It's our possessions, it's art, it's beauty, it's the senses. Um, so, for Virgos, we could be looking at things where, with our possessions and money, when it comes to other people in our relationships, is somebody in your life draining you of your finances, giving too much of yourself, or maybe not asking for enough back for yourself. This could be also Virgo suns, risings, and moons with joint financial ventures in a sense. And I would think that's eighth house too, which would be Pisces. But there is a bigger focus, making a decision to increase prosperity, to increase one's wealth, to increase one's material possessions, or taking a look at all your stuff and having to get rid of it. You know, like, oh, I've got too much. Let me pare down a little bit. Whether it's relationships with people or things, that's where Virgos are focused. And interesting, we have the tribe, but this deck was recently revamped, and now it's being called the community, because the tribe is no longer socially acceptable, from what I understand. But the tribe, it's like, get together with your friends, with the people that are closest and most dearest to you. It's a decision of taking a look at who is in your community, who is in your closest circle. Do they all belong there? Is it time to maybe open up and let some new people in? So yes, that's all part of what that Virgo sun, rising, and moon is going to be about. Really taking a look at that close personal circle. How are they affecting your finances? How are they affecting your material wealth, your immaterial wealth? Do you value everybody that is in your close circle? Those that are not valuing you, they've got to go. They have to go. All right, moving on to Libra. Full moon in Libra. So this is your full moon. It's in the third house. Spoke a little bit about how it affects our communications with those that are closest to us in our family. Not really mother, father, but it's more like siblings, cousins, nieces, nephews, that type of thing. This is also technology, transportation, like how are you getting here and there? Short day trips, short weekend getaways, big highlight on that. But looking at those relationships in your neighborhood, and maybe you need to cut a couple, maybe you need to expand and open up and let some more new relationships in. Let's see. Oh, I love this. This is so perfect that this is for the Libra full moon. It's the land of milk and honey. This is where all things are possible. Anything can happen. This is richness of like the senses. It is abundance and prosperity. And look at that rainbow. It's just like everything great is about to start to happen. I think this is wonderful. Once those decisions, and they could be some difficult decisions, and this is, you know, with it being Libra, it is about relationships and fairness and balance, and how are we judging others and how are others judging us. We're taking a look at all of that. All of us are, actually, and we're making some really big and possibly difficult decisions. All right, Scorpios. So this is about the fourth house. This is the home, the nest. It is our family. It's that mother father energy. It's the things that we do behind the scenes that most people, unless they're super close to us, don't see. And this is where you're being affected. So the decisions are going to be made somewhere, you know, with those themes. This is also possibly, you know, looking at new buying a new house, moving to a new house, buying another house. So those would be your typical themes and where your decisions are being made. And I love this. It's truth be told. So where are you, possibly Scorpios, not accepting the truth about something or speaking the truth about something? Did you flub or fib, embellish something is what I'm hearing? Now it's time to come clean with not only yourself, but your relationships. All right, Sagittarius, we're talking 5th house. And so 5th house is about relationships. It is our children, if we have any, but it could also be where we are a parent to other people's children or a parent-like figure. It's romance. It is, oh, that dreamy, dreamy feeling of love for another. It's also our creativity. Where are you opening up creatively wise? It's time for us to play, Sagittarius. And I know a Sagittarius that's on a little weekend getaway right now, actually enjoying herself, which she doesn't do often, does not get that opportunity. And so I think that that's really beautiful energy. So this is about you making a decision of how to incorporate all of those different themes and how your relationships affect you being able to play and be able to create and be able to be romance versus like working all the time. Oh wow, this is interesting. So it's no place like home. And so I think that's kind of ironically perfect for Sagittarians because they're always off wanting a new adventure, thinking that some other place is grander than their own backyard. So I'm thinking with this, it's like create your own adventure. Make your home base a place that is magical. Use your creative juices, use that romanticism that's within you, and create a fantasy within your own space and make it a place that makes you want to come home every day. So I love that. No place like home. Capricorns. Capricorns, 6th house. So, oh gosh, Capricorns, you know, it's all about your daily routines, your daily duties, but also making some big decisions about your relationship to your health, making decisions about the relationships to the people that you meet and deal with on a daily basis. This is also small pets, work, health. So, and it's also making some decisions about, you're going to be really uber focused on details of everything in your life right now because of this, and making those decisions of what's got to stay, what's got to go, and switching up that daily routine, bringing in balance, not imbalance, bringing more balance into your life in those areas. And your card is, oh, perfect. Perfect, because this is really a 6th house card. It's clean it up. So it's time to clean it up. Top to bottom, I'm hearing everything's just, it's a big purge for the Capricorn suns, risings, and moons. Making space, cleaning up your friends list, cleaning up your life. I mean, it's just like everything from A to Z for the Capricorns. You're making space and you're making room for these new things that are coming in. Okay, Aquarius, we're talking 7th house. I know so many Aquarians. My daughter is an Aquarian. She's getting ready to be married. So this is that beautiful 7th house, Libra, which is perfect. And of course, we selected the date based on the astrology chart. So we have a grand trine in air. Aquarius is an air sign. This is beautiful. We've got Saturn and Jupiter and Pallas, well, no, Pallas just moved into Pisces. I'll talk about that in a second. But yes, Saturn and Jupiter expansion, but like within the rules, we're switching up our foundation, things are changing. But I did select her wedding date based on the astrology. It will be a beautiful Taurus moon, Taurus sun with a moon in Virgo. It's a grand trine in Earth, very stable. And I believe Libra is rising at the time she's getting married. So that is about relationships and the balance and all of that beauty. And we planned this 2 years out to get that perfect chart for her. So, and I do that for a lot of people. But let's get back to you, Aquarian suns, risings, and moons. You are looking at every relationship to everything in your life. And you're really deciding what's going to stay, what's going to go, who's coming in. And you're cutting ties in a lot of cases. You're expanding on some notes, but that Saturn in Aquarius is saying, like, some things really have to go. You don't belong in my new foundation. You don't belong in this thing that I'm building now, is what I'm picking up. Oh, regeneration. It's very Plutonian energy. This is about things that are ending, things that are then beginning. It's like death, birth, rebirth, transformation. This is also speaking about springtime. So, you know, everything dies off, and mostly everything dies off in the winter. And now spring is coming, and we're starting to see the beginnings of that regeneration. So this is a brand new beginning for Aquarius suns, risings, and moons, especially when it comes to your relationships. Like, this is a blossoming of something brand new. We could even be revamping our old relationships that we truly cherish and seeing something, a brand new beginning within that old. So I love that. Pisces, last but not least. Pisces, you are in the 8th house, which is that Plutonian energy of death, birth, rebirth, transformation, regeneration. This is also other people's money. So where you owe other people money, it's taxes, it's loans, it's also inheritances. This is our sexuality, it's our passion when it comes to intimacy. What are we sharing about ourselves with other people? So that's what Pisces is really looking at. Like, what of myself am I intimately sharing with you? And maybe it's the wrong person or the wrong people. Maybe it's TMI. Maybe you're sharing too much information, intimate information, with people that you shouldn't be. So really be taking a look at those relationships. You're also, this would be a great time to take a look at any loans that you have. Maybe you can consolidate, refinance, like look at those interest rates. Rates are really good right now, even though they're on the rise a little bit, they're still very good. So maybe you can do some debt consolidation, and that would be really wise for the Pisces. We do have Pallas in Pisces, and I'm still working on that project. Because I'm trying to do really good chart readings for each person that volunteered. So it's taking me a little bit longer, but I promise that's going to come out very soon. I was hoping by this week, but this week got way too busy for me, and I just couldn't do it. But I'm getting through, and I'm going, you know, from Pallas and Aries all the way down through each sign and bringing up the charts and doing a little mini read on all of those charts. So you've got Pallas. You also have Mercury in Pisces. So Pisces, are you not telling other people how you feel? That's what I'm wondering, because we have Neptune right next to it. You could also be hearing something that somebody else is saying to you and thinking it's one way and it's actually another. And what I'm hearing from my guides is there's some Pisces out there that think that their relationships are more than what they are because they're not listening to what the other person is saying. Like, they think that they're in a relationship. You think you're in a relationship, but this person told you a long time ago, I'm not looking for a relationship. It's something along those lines. So it's a good time to reevaluate anything that you're sharing with another, and look at those relationships. Your card is, breathe. Take a big deep breath. Big deep breath, Pisces, before you go down. Like, come up for air before you go back down. And so it's just about trying to breathe your way through this transit. I do feel a lot of emotions right now surrounding Pisces, suns, risings, and moons. And it's about getting a grip on your emotions and your relationships. And if you are feeling overwhelmed and full of anxiety, maybe there is too much around you and you're just like, I don't even know where to begin. Just take a big deep breath. So the only other thing, that's it. I hope you liked your cards. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I posted something funny on Facebook and Instagram that Karen Kane sent me, and it said, knowing my luck, I'll be reincarnated as myself again. And as I was getting ready this morning and thinking about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I am reincarnated as myself from last life, because the North Node, although that's where we're pointing to, and it's in Gemini, it has been in Gemini since last May. It will remain there until 2022. So we're pointing towards the truth about what we're hearing, communications, media, etc. But my North Node is in Gemini at 13 degrees, so it's been in 13 degrees for at least the last week. So the North Node is lining up exactly with mine. My sun is also 13 degrees Gemini, so it's lining up with that. But an indication of past lives for me is like where your North and South Node are in your charts. And when somebody has their North Node and their sun together like that, like I do, both at 13 degrees within seconds of each other, that's a big indication to me that they're living, again, their last life. Like, you may have had it so rough in that last life that, on one point, you may have had it so rough in that last life that we're just going to redo this life again so that you could sail through it before you get to the next lesson. Or you really effed up in that last life when you were trying to learn this lesson that you need to redo it again and get it right in this life. But because you've experienced most of this before, it's not going to be as hard as long as you're awake and aware, so that you can make better choices this time. So it is a little bit of a skating through. If you're that asleep, I was trying to look for the word. If you're that asleep and you don't realize, like, oh my God, I got to do so much better, you're just going to have to do it all over again. So yeah, look and see where your North Node is. Any of you where the North Node, the true node, is next to your sun, same degree, you're repeating this life. And you know what? Although I've had a lot of difficulty and adversity throughout my life, I mean, things are pretty sweet. They've been for a really long time. I've had so much loss and so much heartbreak and so much heartache, but I did that to myself. Nobody really does it to us. The way we feel is the way we choose to feel. So this is my wisdom for the week. But if I hadn't had the challenges and the adversity that I have throughout my life, I wouldn't be who I am right now. I wouldn't be this person that knows how it feels to just be so grief-stricken and brokenhearted and, you know, just never catching a break. That I think that lends to my compassion for other people. It lends to my generosity. but it's turned me into who I am, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, you know, despite all the loss and the sadness and the grief and everything. And I feel so grateful for where I am right now because I did the work. I refuse to allow myself to be in that negative muck, that self-pity, that woe is me. I pulled myself up from that basement, and I'm just grateful. I'm really blessed to have all of you here. I'm blessed for everything I have in my life. And that's, you know, I've said it so many times, like it's gratitude. It's really just being grateful for what you have and where you are and who you are, and just trying to do a little bit better each day, trying to be a little kinder and a little nicer, not only to yourself, but to others as well. So I'm going to leave you on that note. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you every day, and happy full moon. And I'll see you when I see you. Have a great week. Bye.